Welcome to the Day Trader and Swing Trader Setups watch list, where we look at stocks that broke out on our intraday alerts at the premium alerts at swingtradersetups.com. Intraday alerts create great day trading opportunities as well as carry forward for future days tradings on these breakout stocks. What we do is we review the live alerts that came out intraday on our website for our premium alert subscription holders. We'll keep up with 475 stocks there, and for the breakouts and the breakdowns, they're time stamped with the price, time of the alert, and the time of the post. And also sometimes, like UPS shown here, actually has been on the bull zone for about $7 from several days ago, and this morning it gapped down, and so when it came through the current bull zone breakout, it gave another great alert for an intraday trade setup. So we're reviewing those alerts from our watch list of 475 stocks, as well as scanning for 5 through 5,000 stocks at the end of the day for other alerts similar that came out on different stocks off of our watch list. By subscribing to our service, you're available to see these alerts as they come out early in the mornings or throughout the day. That gives you time to come in and review, see which stocks you might be interested in setting up a swing trade on. We even have these on a weekly alert, and weeklies are really for the long-term swing traders, a better setup on a weekly alert. And for multi-day trade swing traders, these daily breakouts. You also have time to go select some options if you're an option trader before the close of business, since the video comes out after hours. Now we're going to take a quick look at the watch list for the stocks that triggered today, then a quick 3-minute tutorial on support and resistance levels that are on our charts for the new viewers, and then we'll get right into the complete list, and we will go through chart by chart and give you a 10-second view of each chart so you can see what might or might not be at support and resistance levels on these alerts. Thanks for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel while you're here. Welcome to the alerts that were generated on Friday for Monday. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about one stock, AMBA, and some alerts that we're been in development since September, and then we're going to get on into the rest of the list and going through the actual charts. But here's your list of the stocks that came up and triggered on the bear break on the daily. AMBA was just a re-trigger from about 5 days ago. So anytime you see a re-trigger, and that's one of the reasons we show you our chart, and I'll explain that to you when we get to that chart, you might not want to chase if it's already had the big move down. The weeklies were only 2 on the bears, 3 on the dailies here. Our weeklies on the bulls were 17 stocks for the entire week. All of them still remain intact for continuation, and the ones with the green, actually the low of the week was a high enough low to get my trend stability rating. So those would be the stocks I like the most. Over here on your daily, we still had 41 stocks break out on Friday, as sluggish as Friday was. Now some of them could be re-breaks just like this AMBA was. That's why we're going to look at the charts. Slide this down so you can do your pause on the video and you have a complete look at all the stocks there, where you can go chart them on your system. And then we'll move right along into going through the charts as soon as we do the 3-minute tutorial. And we're going to spend some time talking about AMBA and a new intraday alert that we've been developing to put us on this stock even 2 days before it triggered last time about a week ago. And that's what we're going to talk about in the first few minutes of the video. This is a mini tutorial on what the lines mean on my charts if you're a first-time viewer or been a while since you viewed. We're scanning on weekly and daily charts for my condition. When this green line is up, it's my bull zone, and when the red line is up, it's my bear zone. You need to be aware of support and resistance lines and what charts do at levels, and that's what these levels are for. Just quickly as I can do this, and we're going to put a video on YouTube getting more from your swing trading charts that'll be more detailed and look at more stocks, how they react to these lines. But the gist of what you see here is this is what I'm scanning for, and as you can see here, this showed up in the bear zone. It did go down for a few days, but these green lines are support, and that's why it fought for a few days, tried to bounce back up, headed back down again, came right back into the bull zone, a bear zone, excuse me, and continued on down. Now the lines, here's what they represent. A green line is a place that a stock went up to and rejected. So as this green line redrew itself every time we made highs right here, and then it stayed across here for reference points, continues the same line here for reference points. Resistance, when you get above it, becomes support. This green line was drawn way back in the history, and when this stock broke above this resistance level, when it came back down, it held it, it held it, it held it, it tested it and held it again and again. That was support. That's why I want you to be aware of what these lines mean. You'll see them on my charts. And then the activity that stocks do, sometimes they go, that's my first target, that's my second target. Many times stocks go target 1, pull back a little, target 2, then they may pull all the way back to 1 and go again if they're continuing an uptrend. In this case, it did the pull back. This blue line is a 50-period moving average. This orange line is a 200. So that's what I want you to be aware of as well. And then I have a pivot system that consists of this blue line at the top, yellow line at the bottom, and my target 1 and target 2. You'll see this particular day this stock gapped down, huge gap down, open way down here. The low on this stock was 169.68. I'm getting that right out of this box over here, and the value of that yellow line was 169.67. Within 1 cent it held that line and bounced that day for a huge bounce. It's not a support level, but it's where I look for stocks to try to hold. It's where I look if I'm short, say from here, this is where I'm looking to get out. I'm looking to move 2 levels, target 1, target 2, going up, target 1, target 2. The pink lines all represent places the stock has gone down to and bounced. This pink line is referencing this last pivot low. So as you're selling down into it, it may bounce again. If you get below it, then it becomes resistance. And that's all these lines mean. I just want you to know what they mean going forward. Thanks for watching the video. Let's get started. I'm going to share this chart of CI with you, and something we're developing. And since this is on a weekend, thought it'd be a good time to talk about it. For our subscription holders to accompany or precede this bull zone, much more precise and refined alert system that I've been working on since September and have been utilizing in my day trading charts for all the month of December and January. First, I want to share this candle right here. This came out on the bull zone on that particular day was the 11th, and the trigger price was, make sure I'm in the right place, 210.19. Here's the YouTube video that we put out that night for the 12th. That is CI right there. I'm going to blow this up. You're not going to be able to see CI, but you'll be able to see the 210.19 trigger price, so you'll know it's the same stock. When I bring this up, you can see that right there. 210.19 is where that triggered. End of the day, it was up 70 cents over that price. And that was the video we put out the night of the 11th for the 12th trading day. So our subscribers late day got the alert at 210.19 that the stock was going into the daily bull zone. This new alert system I got triggers this at 9:38 a.m. $208.66. That's about $1.50 early. It also will trigger this way before the bull zone many times, and I'm going to share more about that with you. The problem I've been having with this is I use this on my charts. I developed this idea that this is what I wanted to bring to the website, was a plain and simple approach that this is the time that it posted to the website, 9:39 a.m. I have these posting every 60 seconds, and this is the actual time stamp when NinjaTrader sent this alert out. Got the symbol on both ends. I got a big bold, the implied trend shift, multi-candle move, and it's time stamped exactly the time that this price was printed as this alert came out was 9:38 a.m. and 30 seconds. Was on the website within 60 seconds. And this was that same day, January the 11th, that we were just looking at, which is right here. Now what this stock did that day, now you can see that it's ran pretty big the rest several days after and been sideways for 2 days. I'm looking for a multiple day move, 2 to 5 days for the active trader. And I went to my program after I watched this all of September, first week of October. I said, okay, this is what I want to know. This is when I want to know it, and I want to know it one time. Each time this occurs, I want to know about it. And there's a group of indicators that I put together, a lot of which I had studied here on TC2000. I still use TC2000 to plot my resistance lines. I use it for my bull zone. I use it for drawing trend lines, setting alerts, many things I use TC2000 for. TC2000 couldn't bring what I wanted to bring in this alert system to you. Another thing this alert system does, I'm looking for a trend shift. So if I get an alert up here, I'm not interested. That's not the setup I'm looking for. I'm looking for the alert when I'm breaking this downtrend for a while, and now it's breaking out. In this case, it actually did show up on one of the, I run these on 4 different time frames. One of them's for intraday trading only, and I've been running it off my focus charts, loading the exact symbols on the charts and triggering the alerts off of those charts intraday for some really nice moves on some of these higher cap stocks. We've been getting Nvidia, Tesla, $3 to $5 moves on some of these big days the market's been having. I just want to know when to get in, and I want the trend shift. So I studied that, took it to my guys. They came back with what I've been using on my charts, by the middle of October, really just in a few days, about 5 or 6 days after I gave it to them. And I put it on the charts, and I've been studying it ever since, trying to alert it intraday on these stocks has been the issue. But this will pick it up ahead of the bull zone many times. This stock back right here, I believe. No, it was here. It's in October. On October the 17th, this same stock gave the same alert I just shared with you. Now, the bull zone didn't kick in on this until way up here, 3 days later. This was the first day it came in on this alert. Now, that don't mean it just goes straight up. You see this day pull back right here. But once that alert triggered, this stock was in a trend shift. If you drew you a trend line here across this group of candles, you were breaking it. If you drew one right up here, that's what you ran into here, and you had a day of hesitation and then this huge breakout. So from the time this alert went off, nothing ever changed about the trend shift. And that's what I'm trying to look for, is to find these multi-day runs. If you can tie my bull zone break on the daily in with this alert, which they both came out the same day, I like that even better. The issue I've been having scanning these and sending them out live on the website is, as the stock has been basing intraday or moving back and forth, it's been sending the alert out multiple times. Came out, this is when it actually triggered. This stock triggered again at $9.59 at $210. It triggered again at $12.33, still around $210.90. It triggered again at $230 at $211. You don't need 4 alerts, you just need one. I just need one. I need the one where the break occurred. So even though I'm running these intraday on my charts and they're not reoccurring, they only fire off one time. When we try to run them in a scanner, they're firing off multiple times a day. And I finally, through studying and testing, like some of the stuff I just showed you came off the testing, this is the 11th. This breakout was right here, just before the close of this bar actually. And the bar did close above that alert. And then this stock went from the 209 area up to almost 211. That's a quick $2 run, but this is not a quick trade. This is a trend shift. Now, this stock went sideways all day, and this is another reason I like for you to take when you're a subscriber and get our lines on your charts, so that you realize, hey, this thing's at resistance, and the only resistance it was at was the high of this candle from 4 days before. And you don't see that on my daily chart as I'm showing you the video at night on the bull zone. But on the intraday chart, these lines shift themselves, and this is showing you going back multiple days on the 15-minute chart where that high was, and it stayed there all day long. And due to all this choppiness is what was causing, and I say choppiness, the thing stayed in a 50-cent range all day. Nothing ever changed about the trend shift, but continually throughout the day, as the price would pull back slightly, it would cause the alerts that are set to watch for things changing. Those things would intraday wiggle around, and then it would cause it to re-trigger and re-trigger and re-trigger. It's only a one-time trigger. I think I figured out the solution to the problem. Been working with NinjaTrader, and they admitted it really shouldn't be doing what it's doing, but it is. And so I went back to my programmers. I said, okay, here's what I need. I think this will solve the issue. I'm going to add some more information to the scan to keep it from repeating. So if that works like I think it will, These will be coming out once a day, just like they are on my charts. On my charts, I say once a day whenever they trigger, and they will be a one-time thing. Now this stock continues from that point at that 208 for 3 days. It went to 220. That's a $12 move, guys. That's a pretty good little short-term active trader trade. It's also a great way to make some money on some options. I have some requirements. I got 2 questions I want to know when I get this particular alert. We've got 3 alerts long, 3 alerts short, and that's it. I want to know, have we been in a downtrend? And I got 3 different time frames I'm watching this on that I've got it set up on for re-triggers, pullbacks, and so forth. Those are the alerts we're given. But for this particular one, I want a downtrend. Well, it went off here on this day, and I'd been in a multi-day downtrend. So I liked the trigger, and it sold off for 2 days. So it came back here. This had been a short-term downtrend, and it's breaking back out again. Also going back into the longer-term downtrend. So when it didn't actually break on this indicator that I was showing you here at all. It broke on a bigger time frame here. On this day, it broke on the lower time frame, which usually will show up first, and then it broke on a lot bigger time frame. I run it on 3 bigger time frames for bigger runs. This run is still intact. It really hasn't shown any weakness, even though it's still basing here. My power bars and the bull zone is completely intact, and everything about the alerts setups that I'm running, and I'm watching and looking at those charts day after day, there's nothing not intact about this move. It may very well continue for even more dollars. I've been tweeting out a few tweets in the past week on our intraday. We're running these just for our chat room and trade room intraday on a very small group of stocks right off the charts, only about 35 stocks. What this allows me to do now is to run that on maybe about 80 to 100 stocks for the day trade room and the trade room, and then we'll be running this on the website on our 475 stocks that we watch, and we'll be running on 3 different timetables that's going to send these alerts out on these trend shifts. And then we got 2 questions we teach our people to ask on this particular one. Am I in a little downtrend, and have I broke a trend back to the upside? And if it's not in a downtrend and it's in an uptrend, then I don't want to look at anything else, because you can't be breaking the trend line because the trend line's up. Once this occurs, as this stock progresses up through the days, day in and day out, it can give little pullbacks, and every time it does, we've got another alert on these big uptrends when we get these $2 and $3 pullbacks, which a lot of times, stock will gap down one morning, head up again. So if you do a 3 or 4 day trade on it, and then it starts selling off and sells down $2 or $3, when it gets back to a certain place, we've got another alert that watches for that pullback to maintain the uptrend. And then we've got 2 more alerts. One is momentum picking up in the trend, which can be from in a base for hours, and can also be a pullback alert that we put out if it maintains the levels we want it to maintain to continue, and then reverses, not just maintains, comes down as far as we think it should be allowed to come down and still be considered in the uptrend, and immediately at that point continues back up. So those are the alerts we're running. So once we get in a big uptrend, we can get some new active trader alerts to come back and revisit, or we can get a bullish break middle of the day to go ahead and relook at these as well. So I'm taking this and bringing it in. I have to run these intraday. They can't be run end of day. They have to be run at the time they trigger, right where they trigger. And so they're posted on this website. I got to go back, review these alerts. The end of the day, that's why I only want them once. They're no use to any of us if they're multiple times that are out there. So hopefully we'll be implementing the new things about this alert, and if we don't get the repeats, everything about the alert is what I want to have. I just need the repeats gone. So if I've eliminated the repeats, and of course we'll know that in today Monday's trading, we'll be launching this probably by the end of the week for our current subscribers and new subscribers. Well, this is our active trader alert, multi-day trades. It's also a great way to scan if it's out there at the end of the day and it just went into this zone right at the end of day. It's a great item to have on a watch list for the next 2 to 3 days of day trading. So thanks for watching this part of the video, and stay tuned. This is a monster alert. This stock alone's up over $10 since the 11th, and it hadn't done anything in 2 days. Been sideways for 2 days with all this market chopping around. Many times these alerts are they're bringing multi-bar moves, and the higher the time frame that I'm scanning these on, the bigger the bars are, so the bigger the move's going to be. Actually, some of them, if they give the move like I want to see for 3 to 5 days, you could be talking about $6 to $8 moves on a regular basis in a 3 to 5 day period of time. This one here, I'm looking for $3. I have seen this alert going back in the history and studying these after I had them developed, actually trigger an alert, never become nothing but an uptrend from 4 months ago. So it's a great swing trade, first entry level, and then the other bigger time frames I'm scanning on generally come in a day or two behind the first alert. Sometimes they come together and can develop into multiple day runs, a little bit ahead of our bull zone. So stay tuned for that. We get on to looking at these charts. Thanks for watching. While you're here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter or StockTwits at Daytrader Setups. And our website is daytradersetups.com and swingtradersetups.com. Don't forget, this video is being brought to you by our premium alerts at swingtradersetups.com. They're real-time alerts. They're posted on our website, and we're looking at our bull zone weekly and daily breakouts, and our bear zone weekly and daily breakouts that are in one category on the website. And there are other categories that are more aggressive for the more active trader as well. And by having a subscription to that service, you get all these alerts intraday as they happen, and one subscription gets you access to everything, as well as our chart system. If you would like to get it, I can set you up a couple of different ways to have the green and pink lines available for your charts as you review. Let's go forward. Okay, we were going to talk about the AMBA chart for a minute, and then we'll get into all of them. One, I want to emphasize, you got a bull break right here. That's where your level was on the scan list. But also, a bear break, Also, I want you to realize this was the bear break right here. That's why I show you these charts. This already came out on this day, right about this price toward the end of the day, into the bear zone. So way down here, it broke into the bear zone. So you want to get it on the first alert, not the third one, because these are recalculating. The bear zone was here at the time this broke down, not here. So this is a re-break of the current bear zone levels. So that I want to emphasize is when you see that, and I go through the charts, just glance at the bottom. You see the red. We're always looking for the red line for the bear zone, the top red line, or the green line for the bull zone. If you see it already there in the past and it's been a big drop down, don't chase the stock. Now if it's on the daily one day and a weekly 2 days later, that's a different story. Now what I wanted to show you here is the alerts I just got through talking to you about. We got 3 upper swing trade levels and active trader levels. This day right here brought the first level in fairly early in the morning. This stock ran up that little wick you see, and then it pulled back about $1, and it actually alerted on that day be a trend shift to the downside that was on the 8th, and it alerted at $92.65. Now stock didn't really do anything that day. The next morning it opened up and headed on down, and it didn't just explode down. It opened and it's been about no more than $1 down in the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of that big move came down that day. By the end of the day, that stock was down to $59.65. Well, you were alerted at $62.65 the day before. It continued on the next day, huge day down, and by the end of the day it came into the bear zone here on this particular daily alert we're running. So this alert gets you on this stock right up here. The question I said ask is it in an uptrend? It's been in an uptrend. It had a bigger push, but it's been in an uptrend, and it was turning over. That's the first thing we want to make sure of. If it's in a downtrend and we get a stock that says it's going down, that negates it. The other day I saw one that was like sideways about 4 days, slightly in a downtrend. It said go down, and the stock bounced about 30 cents later and went straight up. So it needs to be in the opposite trend to change its shift trend. Second thing that happened on this same set of alerts, our bigger time frame alert the same day. Told you we had multiple alerts on these on 3 different time frames set up for these swing trade and active trader alerts. On the 10th, which was the 2 days later, on the big day, one of those came in on the momentum build at $57, and then the bigger picture one gave the turnover on the 10th as well, and it triggered at $59.40 for a shift change on the bigger trend. This was the 9th, so this was the 10th, but it triggered at $59.40, way up here. On my biggest time frame, I'll look for a bigger trend shift. $59.40 it came in, and it's down over $9 since there, but it did trend into the day way down here where we caught the bear zone coming into play around $55. We catch it up here at $49 that morning, so we were already aware of it here from 2 days before on our earliest alert. That's what I want to share with you, what this can set up for you. And it would show up on the website just like you saw the NC alert, red zone at the price at the time. All right, we're on our charts now. Thanks for y'all's patience, and I hope some of you's got some interest here in that alert service to get those repeats eliminated, and it's going to be awesome. ALB weekly breakdown all the way down here on our chart. Here's your bear zone break at 120.22. It's down $4 off that break, and that was probably midweek. It had that gap down 2 days ago, so you don't see the gap down when you're looking at weeklies. IPHI, middle of another gap down stock. broke down through the level right here at 35.64, down 357 from that. Now that actually triggered the day before the gap down. I don't know if this is an earnings play. I know it gapped down 2 days in a row. You know, always caution about earnings, getting in front of them. And we're going to get on the bulls. Got a lot of them here. I'm going to try to move these really fast to make up for all that time I spent talking earlier. But it is a weekend, so maybe you got a little more time to watch this. And I guess if you didn't want to listen to the other, you fast forwarded to here. You had a breakout here on the weekly. It was about 3 days ago. I lost my list. Just fix that problem. Won't lose the list anymore. We were on ADI. Broke out a couple of days ago right here. That was 3 days ago. Had a red day on Friday. This is, you know, breaking out to all-time highs, so you know you never got a read on how far they're going in this market like it is. So I don't have really a great opinion there on any of these that do that. This stock here broke into the weekly anthem. It also was on the daily bull zone, and this is a re-break. It's just getting more momentum. This is the reason it's coming back in here. This was the real trade back here. This was when this broke the weekly bull zone way back here, 199, back in October. Also at that time it had a daily bull zone breakout. This is in a pretty good bull zone on the daily. We featured it back. First time was way back here in the middle of that particular week that you just saw me highlighting on. It kind of chopped around there 2 or 3 days and kept gaining momentum, and then it broke on out there for this last week's been real strong. The last 2 days were kind of slow. Of course, the market calls that. This stock broke out on a gap up actually earlier in the week, and this one's just going crazy. So it's way too far for a swing trade. BG Monster Daily, about $8 on Friday, and obviously was some news, so you need to research that. Went up through the 50, through the 200 day. Just a monster day there, about $8. So there's a reason for that. Usually when they go that far that fast, they come back, as you can see back here. Went that far that fast, it came back. No clue what that news is. There's something going on there though. FTNT, this is kind of breaking on the bull zone on the daily a couple of days ago, so, and this is not all-time highs, so it's kind of getting a little more momo on the weekly. It had it several weeks ago. It broke out way down here on the weekly back in November. This thing just kind of chops along and grinds higher, and has been doing it as long as I can remember. It has lots of volatility in it, day in and day out. Very big candle on Friday, wick way down. I'll show you that daily real quick. Huge retest. These are my lines. What are my lines? Support and resistance. Resistance. Came back to it later. Resistance. Came back to it next time. Broke above it. Barely held above it. Came back down. Broke above it again. Now what did it just do? It retested. It's broke above it. Failed. Broke above it again. Came back and retested. Held the line. It pinned it. It went through it and came right back up. They bought it right there. Old resistance, new support. That's very strong. That's the reason I showed that to you. this could have a big day on Monday. It's not one of my normals, but I'll be watching that. This stock actually broke out on January 3rd like many stocks did, and all this is nothing but noise. Continuing up, this down, this sell-off right here, just noise. HCA, nice breakout on the daily and the weekly, and through these old highs here that go back into last March. Squeeze this chart in for you and let you see where that came from. High last March, all the way across here for you. It's already on your chart. That's what you want. Breaks through it last week, big week. It's got another high coming in here on the weekly. We're looking at the weekly scan. I'm still on the daily chart there. Here's your weekly breakout of that old high in March. That line was also on that daily chart. This is your next resistance point up here at 95.50. Juno, this was just a breakout on the Celgene news. LVS continuing to grind higher. Of course, this is nowhere near all-time highs. You glance at my chart and you see these lines coming down. These are recalculating it back down to this level, but that means there's been higher prices before, or they could not be here. Stocks ran a long way, but it's making all-time highs. Okay, here's your one down in some sold-off territory. Coming up through the weekly 50 here, getting through all this junk for the last 2 months. Got a little bulls on break on the daily a couple of days ago. Up here, chopped around for a couple of days, got some little resistance here to get through. 44.50 area on the daily. PANW, I'm not real crazy about this bulls on break, although it is breaking the levels required to do so, and it is getting the first little signs. I'd like a little bit better base here. It has been going on the daily, and it's been in a nice uptrend that actually triggered on my biggest time frame uptrend for the reversal to break out of that base. Was like everything else on the second day of January. Now, you heard me talk about the pullback alerts on the longer term uptrending stocks holding where they're supposed to hold. This actually triggered that on the 16th, which is the big red candle right here. So after this big pullback, my alert system that looks for the uptrend that we've already would have been watching for days and days and days from way back here on the second, this pullback wasn't severe enough to take it out of that uptrend on my minimum levels allowed, and came back up, and it takes more than 50 cents to turn it around. It's a couple of bucks required to say this uptrend is still intact. It did that by the end of the day here. Next morning this continued on up, and this just really got caught up in that sell-off day we had on the market. Ulta at your 200 day. It is trying to break on the weekly, and I really like the way it's done this move here. It's just got to get through the 200 day. Now, how long it's going to sit here, I don't know, but it could break on out. It is struggling here. It actually broke into my biggest indicator for the trend reversal. I'll give you the right day. It was the end of the day on the 12th, which was this candle. Right at the end of the day, it came in on my trend reversal and the next morning gave this little wick down, or opened up here, gave the wick down intraday, and then came back up. Nothing wrong with the trade. Next day continued on up for a huge gap up again. Sold back off and then continues up. It's got all these issues here, but the trend's fine, or was fine from where it triggered. Now it's at a resistance level, and it is struggling right here, and it wouldn't take much for this to pull back a little and then have to come again. UNH had earnings just through the roof. They can't buy enough of it. Up $15 in about 3 days. Wynn Resorts, nice little breakout week here. Hit the bullseye about 4 days ago on the daily, and that's about the time it broke into this bullish week it had. Very nice week. And another stock is not at all-time highs. That's how you see these green lines. This stock's been way up there and sold off hugely, and it's been marching ever since. Mr. Wynn stuck his money back in there, if I remember right, about $54 back in 2016. Bought in a pile of stock, and he's like quadrupled his money almost. And then Yandex was the last one. Had a crazy day. It's been on the daily breakout here for 10 or 12 days though. And of course this is not at all-time highs either. On to the daily charts on the daily breaks. I'm going to go to the bears first. Get back on the daily chart. We already talked about AMBA. It's a re-entry into the bear. It's already, the trade was way back up here. Really, it was way back up here on my new alert system that I've been working with for months, but hopefully I'm going to get it out here on the whale by the end of the week. It broke the bear zone way back up here. So this is not a re-entry you'd be chasing. I don't want to see you do that. EPC, daily bear zone break here. First time it's been in there. Tried to break out and go up. It's been in this tight squeeze for a while. Now this stock could do nothing but revisit this low and turn right back around. It's been basing here for a while. It had a lot of range in this week. I got no feelings about this stock at all. If it can go back down more, I wouldn't chase it lower after it's come this far all these months. And it ain't ready to go up. MCK, pretty ugly candle here. This stock had been on a pretty nice run and then just slammed down. Surprisingly, on Friday it did hold the 200 day. Bull list. We got a lot of stocks here. We got to do a rapid fire, not a lot of comment. I'm just going to comment on the ones I like. I'm going to give you about 5 seconds on each one so you have time to pause the video if you want to look at the lines on the charts. Don't forget, while we're toggling down, this line stays highlighted in blue, so you can see the level that triggered it and where it stands from the trigger and what the daily on that particular day was. AGN's been in a pretty nice little red green, but it's grinding up every day. It's almost to this pink line up here, which is a big weekly support line. Probably either gets a lot of momentum there or pulls back and struggles there for a while. It's really struggling. I actually had it on the daily, in and out of the daily bull zone since about the 10th. You can see it right here. That was the first day, was the 9th. This is way down here. That's a sloppy stock. Pretty nice break on this. Now this is one of those that's been in the bull zones from way back here, so nothing to chase. BG, we talked about this earlier. Big day on Friday. BXS actually hit the bull zone way back here. This is just a re-break after this 4-day consolidation, so the real trade's back here. That was the real trade. This stock, I'm not sure when their earnings are. It's something you would want to know, but it's really been getting my attention here. I've been actually watching it day trading. You got to get, when you get through the 50-day here, you got this line here is going to be your support resistance line. You're also going to hit the trend line, just about the same place there. That line's value is $150.28. So if it gets through there, that's when you're going to get a bigger move. And it's setting up, of course, down here a couple of days ago on my other indicators. You just got to fight the 50 and then this spot right here. It's just a re-break from the other day on earnings. You had the breakdown here. Been basing for 2 or 3 days. They really killed it from what I remember, so this could actually break on out this week. It's a stock I do not day trade. I like the looks of this because it's finally getting through the 200-day here after about spending 4 or 5 days there. Chopped in and out of the bull zone along the way, but this is the first time it's really got, my momentum indicator was on it one time and it came back in here. I think we talked about this a few days ago. It also crossed a 50-week last week right here, opened above it, tested it, got through it. That's a big deal as well. This stock actually broke out back in November, as you can see there on that chart, and the pullback that occurred here would have been supported by my uptrend not going down far enough to be considered not still in the uptrend. So even at that alert on our new alert system puts you back in this trade down here around $97 if you had gotten out. Got it on 2 different levels up there. Both of them did the same thing at the same time. Our 2 time frames, 2 bigger time frames. This got 200 up on top of it. Be careful there. Strong. Just continues to run. I got no feeling about these things that are at all-time highs. I don't have a read of how far they can go. With the market like it is, obviously it's going to depend on how long the market continues. Don't forget that big sell-off last week probably had more to do with the headlines when Comey was going before Senate. There's a lot of different feelings out there. This stock here is real strong on the weekly as well. This stock has a lot of potential here. Last week it broke through these old highs, tested it, pulled back for 2 days, opened it and held it on Friday, This goes back a long way, long way. I'm going to show you the weekly. This is the line we're dealing with here on the weekly. This goes back, I'll just hit the weekly. Last time it was here on the weekly, September 2016. It went back up there again and visited it in June of last year and in July, and now it's taken that out. It's in the bull zone on the weekly for 2 weeks, broke into there last week. We brought this in on your weekly chart. Bull zone break last week, which was at this level way down here, around 119.20. It's a $4 or $5 move since then, and this is pretty big right here where it's breaking out. I'll give you a little update on what our other indicators were saying here. Back on November 21st is where they first showed up to get long. That's down here, right there, across the 50 by coincidence. And then we had all this consolidation, and we had a re-break on the 4th of January, and we've pretty much been in an uptrend even on our smallest level there since January 3rd. And every pullback on that smallest time frame, we hadn't even done the pullbacks on the bigger time frames, the smallest time frame, every single pullback is held right where our alerts want it to be at, and gave the re-entry kind of alert for another $2 or $3 uptrend. It's been just really, even way down here, it never took that out. This thing's really, really strong. This has been strong on the weekly for several weeks, even though it chopped around for 2 weeks here in the middle there, and then broke on out again and broke through some old high right here. This is another pretty strong breakout. It's not the highest high. I'll put you on a weekly real quick. This is this weekly pivot high back here from March at 91.03. It cleared that this week, cleared that on Friday. And here's your next level way up here at 95.49. Into it, just breaking out of this base. No clue where this goes. No feeling about anything there. Big break here on Friday, riding this support line from the bottom side, breaks out through the 50-day with a monster candle. I don't know this stock for day trading. It's probably spready. On your weekly, it's just been a little pullback here. I'm sure some of you do know it. You got this trend line. You've been broke it for several days. It just finally got that push it needed on Friday. This stock actually gave the first indicator, which is a smaller time frame, right here on the 11th. Now, it spent a lot of time in this area, and this is why I like to show you the charts where you can see your support resistance line you're working through. Now, my bigger time frame chart has not turned this into an uptrend yet. They could very easily do that on tomorrow's candles. This looks really good though. Something to watch if it's something you're interested in. I'm gonna flag it just because I want to watch the spread. I'm not familiar with it, and if it don't have it had a lot of volume Friday, but it may not have a lot tomorrow. ITW day traded this a couple times this week, just on these ranging bars. continues to just grind higher. A lot of this stuff, guys, I really don't have a feeling for it because we're not like down here coming out. They're just continuing on up, and the new bull zones have been calculated and they're reappearing. This is obviously one that's kind of sold off, and it's trying to get itself going again. The weekly had a pretty good week as well. I think this is one of Mr. Buffett's companies, isn't it? I don't have a feel for this stock at all. Mickey D, stock of the year last year. No feeling, just continues to grind higher. Pretty nice little breakout here, and a nice weekly bar last week. Really nice weekly engulfing here on the weekly. Almost to the bottom here. Triple M actually in a really great breakout for about 4 or 5 days now. Started showing up right here, got through that support resistance line, and had a $10 10 days. O'Reilly's been in a nice breakout. Again, this is just a re-break. This was the trade way back here. That's a $20 move from there, even though it consolidated for a week. And it may gain more momentum this week. This thing's been really strong. AAP's had some strong days too. Same sector. Big daily candle. Big weekly candle. Most of it was this day, obviously, from the looks of the other 4 days. That's a big candle. They could just buy it and shoot it on up again. Wouldn't surprise me to see a little pullback here. Maybe even down to 107, 106.50 area. Could even gap down there and then go. I got it flagged. I'm going to watch it on day trading list tomorrow. It kind of broke into this little uptrend on my lowest time frame, my day trade time frame, on the 17th, and actually never lost anything on the pullbacks. It maintained the levels, and then that was just an explosive move there. I don't usually use that as a predecessor to what's coming, but I do use my other swing trade as the first indicator. Surprised me actually to see that 4 days ago on that chart. This stock actually broke up on my lowest time frame swing trade active trader alert only on the 19th, which was Friday, on this big move. Just continues to be a monster, just grinding along. It has plenty of red days in there. There's no momentum to this, but it continues going up. No opinion. Same here, no opinion. UHS put in an ugly candle. Actually, we day traded it some on Friday, and then suddenly it just did a nosedive on some lawsuit stuff. There's your 15-minute candle there where it just came down. Now when it came down, look what it did. Here's my support lines. So if you're one of those guys that likes to get involved in this stuff, not me, there was your support. It crossed it by a dime. If I remember right, it was $117 line right there in the little green box. Slammed down, went right to it, down a dime, came right back up. And this was not fun to trade if you tried to trade it, but some guys could have grabbed it here and just say, I'm going to ride it out. And I could have made a lot of money there on that bounce, but not my kind of thing. And I got no idea what this does on Monday. I'm just bringing that news up to, even though it's bull zone on the daily, keep that in mind. And that was a re-break from a few days ago. Nothing about this stock does anything for me. Wayfair's just been kind of chopping around up here above support. This goes back several weeks ago. Broke out above it, it's been holding it, and I actually do kind of watch this stock, and it could do something big this week. Looking back at Wayfair here, of course it's been in an uptrend for quite a while. Hit my alerts on one of the upper time frame breakouts back in November the 14th. Hit another one on November the 28th, and all those have maintained their uptrend status and held where they should have held on these pullbacks. Just kind of keeps trying to get stronger. If it breaks out, say 89, let's see if that's the right number. Yeah, $89, 89 quarter may really break this thing on out some more. It's just way up here. That's all I got. Been a long video. Thanks for watching. See you next week. We'll keep them shorter during the week.